A new day dawned in Albuquerque that June morning in 2008, and as the sun came up, Catherine Pierce realized she'd been transformed. In just 6 days, she'd gone from smiling newlywed to blood-stained widow and to possible suspect in the murder of her husband Scott. You know, when a husband or wife dies, it's very natural for police to at least look at the surviving spouse.
I knew something was coming. It wasn't unusual.
And soon, Catherine was face to face with veteran Albuquerque homicide detective Mike Fox. A brand new bride tells the story of some mystery man coming into the house and executing her new husband. That's got to set off alarm bells.
She was somebody we had to look at.
Tell me about Catherine Pierce's demeanor.
She actually shocked me how well she was able to put it together.
Calmer than you would expect?
Yes.
Detectives had many questions, especially after looking hard at the crime scene and finding something confusing. The killer had dumped out Catherine's purse on the back deck, but on the purse, no fingerprints. So was this a robbery gone wrong? Or was the purse some kind of diversion?
We knew we were dealing with somebody at that point that it had gloved up either with rubber gloves or something like that.
Which says to you what?
It tells me that whoever's involved was going in there to kill somebody and not leave any evidence behind.
Burglars generally do not carry shotguns.
No.
And if somebody surprises them, instead of shooting them, they just run away.
Typically, that's what I've seen through my career.
And so even though the fact that Catherine's purse was sort of dumped out and searched through, everything about this says planned murder, not planned burglary.
Correct.
But planned by whom? Tell me about Scott Pierce. Anybody didn't like him?
No, everybody liked him. Great guy. Nothing bad in his background at all.
You no doubt did your due diligence to find out whether that marriage was as happy as it appeared to be.
Yes. Talking to people around him, everything was fantastic.
But detectives had heard that story before. When they looked deeper, they learned that Catherine's husband had a life insurance policy. The payoff was in the mid-six-figure range, and she was the beneficiary. When they canvassed the homes nearby, police found neighbors who'd heard a man and woman talking at around 3 a.m. Detectives wondered, had that been Scott and Catherine? Within hours of her husband's murder, criminalists confiscated the clothes Catherine was wearing when she said her new husband was gunned down right in front of her. Police took your clothing because they wanted to test it.
Everything is evidence at that point. I understood that.
You weren't concerned?
Not at all. The detective asked me if I killed my husband.
Straight out?
And I said no. And he seems fairly satisfied with that.
But detectives asked Catherine to run through her story again, looking for inconsistencies. So she went through what happened that night again, just as she did in this video she would later make for her attorneys.
From here I turned around and there was a person, a tall person standing here. So I said, "Oh, Scott, stop messing around." And then he said, "Get down on the ground." That's when I knew somebody was in my house that didn't belong. I saw Scott standing at the other end of the room. I held out my hand and I said, "Scott, wait." The gun went off. His head was right here. And his neck was blown open, all of this. His throat, everything to back here, it was gone.
Did she say or do anything that made you suspicious?
No. Nothing showed that she wasn't telling the truth, but unfortunately, in her situation, I have to go after her as a possible suspect. It's to find out if she is involved, A, and then B, if she's not, later on make it so that when this does go to trial, it's not brought up by a defense attorney that tries to throw it on her and make her look like she's the one that did it.
But remember, there was something Catherine heard on the kitchen floor that night. Something that came from that shadowy figure who'd held a shotgun to Catherine's head before firing the fatal shot at Scott. The killer had also asked her a question that would soon become the focus of this investigation.
He said, "Where's Manny?"
Manny.
And I said, "What? What did you say?" And he said, "Where's Manny?"
It was a name that meant nothing to homicide investigators. But Catherine Pierce says she knew exactly who the man was after. Now police were looking for him too.
So who was this mystery man named Manny? And could he help break this case?
It didn't quite seem right that this random person just happened to break in.
Police are getting closer when Dateline continues.